right now there's 6,000 TV shows on right now, and we're not seeing any of them because there's no TV on. So we're surrounded by energy, but we're not picking up energy necessarily, because if we're not in our body, present in our body, we are not picking up the broadcasts that are going on. So the way that I asked to meditate is that you focus on your breathing, just feeling it, feeling the in-breath and the out-breath. And anything else, you don't try to quiet the mind. The mind will just be like background noise, like a fan or something in the background. And notice things in your body. Just don't try to fix anything. Don't make up a story. Don't try to interpret it, but instead you feel, oh, there's tension in my shoulders, or I can feel energy moving or energy not moving. And you're just very, very, very present. And if you feel emotions, you let them be. You don't have to find out why you're sad, why you're angry, why you're happy. You just notice, like you would notice a tide pool, or you would go to the ocean and notice the waves, and you wouldn't make up a story about what the waves are doing or what they mean or anything like that. So I'd like to do just like maybe a 30-second little meditation, and then we'll do something with crystals. So before we do this, does anybody have any questions? And I'm looking at a blank screen right now too. I don't know why, but let me see if I can see other people. For some reason, when I went to recording, I'm looking at a blank screen. So.
If you go up into the top.
There we go. I got you.
You got everybody. You got everybody now in gallery view.
No, I have just you. So let me see.
Here's what you do. Put your cursor up in the top right of the screen where it says view, and click on gallery view.
All right.
And you'll see everyone.
Let's see. It says more.
Begging your pardon, while we're at it, could everybody shut their microphone down?
Everybody
that's Tanya and who else? No, there was somebody else as well. Good. You're all reacting quickly.
Okay.
All right. So now, yes, I have gallery view. So are there any questions before we do this little 30-second meditation? No? Okay. All right. So if you would just get comfortable, close your eyes, and just very simply feel every nuance of breathing, especially in the age of COVID. It's kind of a miracle that we can breathe and breathe well. So let's just take a few seconds and feel the inhale and exhale. And anything else that happens, be curious. Don't try to feel calm. Don't try to leave your body. Don't try to feel any special way. Just feel the breathing. Okay. Now, if you can, very quietly, you can open your eyes, try to stay in the energy, pick up the crystal that you have, and just hold it between your two hands. And the same thing, close your eyes, go back to the breathing, and just notice anything. So you might feel something different. It might feel the same. It might feel the same, but more intense. You might have a thought or an emotion or a color, just again, like you're looking at a tide pool or looking up at leaves in the sky. Just notice. Don't make up a story. Just enjoy or feel whatever's going on without thinking about it. Just like, oh, maybe your back hurts. Maybe you get a slight headache. Maybe you feel lighter. Just notice. Keep breathing. If you get distracted, go back to the breathing and then go back to noticing. So again, very quietly, put the crystal down. You can open your eyes. And then when you're ready, close your eyes again. And this time, say your first name silently to yourself 3 times. Focus on the breathing. And again, be curious about anything that's happening, anything that changes, anything stays the same, physical, emotional, energetic. Take it all. Colors, thoughts, just like, oh, look at that. Let it come, let it go. All right, very nice. Good enough. Good enough. You ready? Just open your eyes. Good. So if you want to, you can jot down some notes, but my question to you will be then, did it feel exactly the same all 3 times? Or did you feel differences? And if so, what were they? Anybody who wants to say anything? And then I'll talk about a little bit what this was.
Yeah,
So,
I felt a heaviness in my heart, which I have been feeling off and on when I was holding the crystal. And then when I put it down, it felt a little bit lighter, like I could not exactly fly, but like I could float above the fact that, yes, I do have a headache and my back hurts.
so between the first meditation, the crystal meditation, and then the one where you said your first name, were there differences in each one?
Yes, there were.
Yeah, very nice. Subtle, right?
Yeah, extremely subtle.
Yeah, okay, very nice, good. Anybody else want to say anything? You
I
don't
put
have-
my hand up, so I'm ready to say something.
All right, it's up to Sheila to pick people because I don't know how to do that.
Okay, first Giles and then Denise.
Oops.
The second part of the meditation, I had an excellent feeling swirl through my body. and that remained in the third part.
And so the first meditation, what was that like?
Nothing much happened.
Okay. And then the second one, you felt the swirl.
Swirl of good feeling and good
Yeah.
health and happiness.
And then when you felt the third one, when you said your name, it was exactly the same or slightly different?
Pretty much the same.
What was different? You said pretty much, so it's not exactly the same.
Oh. All right. Well, my name doesn't really mean much to me because I've been called by many different names. And one of the things that I'm interested in, which I will find out in due course, is who am I? So that's the question I was asking.
But the what did you feel in terms of a difference? You said it was pretty much the same. What felt different? Not what you were thinking, but what felt a little bit different?
Less strong of the feelings.
Okay. All right, good. But still swirling, but not as strong. Very nice. Okay, great. Anybody else want to say?
Denise, go ahead.
I was calm with the first one, and the second one with the crystal, my heart, I definitely felt a difference, an energy shift, and my heart was beating faster.
Okay.
And then with the third one, when I was saying my name, I was kind of, I was kind of a little wobbly.
Got it. Beautiful. Excellent. Anybody else?
Pamela.
No.
First one is I got chills. The second one, the chills remain. The third one, my heart skipped a beat.
Wow. Okay, very nice. Good. Anybody else?
Lauren, and then Marion.
The first one, there wasn't much of anything. It was mostly just dark. The second one, I felt like a shiver of electricity go through me, and I saw a picture of the mountain.
Mhm.
And the third one, I felt my shoulders getting tense and felt uncomfortable.
Got it. Beautiful. Very nice.
Marion, go ahead.
Thank you. The first one, that was a classic Buddhist approach. So that I felt normal because that's like I sit Zazen every day. So I felt normal. The second one.
What's normal?
Normal is where I'm just sitting and I'm observing. So I feel calm, I feel peaceful, and I'm observing. So and I'm aware that I'm observing. So I felt normal, I felt peaceful. It felt like, putting on like your slippers, felt very comfortable. The second one, when I was holding the crystal, I felt waves of energy coming off the crystal up my arms. And the third one, when I said my name, I felt a little less, I felt less of the energy because I was no longer holding the crystal, but I felt good. I felt light. I felt very light. It was really fascinating.
All right. Nice. Good, good. Anybody else?
I don't see any other hands. Oh, wait, there's Dana.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first one, just breathing, it helped. I felt very relaxed and my body felt relaxed. I didn't feel any tension anywhere specifically, just focused on the breathing. Then with the crystal, I had a sense of calming, and then I thought about my grandmother, and then just really felt like comfortable, if that makes sense. And then the third one, when I said my name, I had the worst pain in my neck. So I hope that's not saying I'm a pain in the neck, but there you go.
I don't think saying that, by the way. All right.
Giles is telling us that Lynn had a hand up.
Yes. The first one, I was feeling some soreness in my back and shoulder from snow shoveling today. And the second one, I was feeling when I was holding the crystal, I was feeling a lot of coolness, just go to those areas. And the third one, when I said my name, I felt like a lot of that soreness was gone.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Good. Anybody else? No? All right. Okay, cool. So this is different than what a lot of things that are taught. Most Westerners, we want to make up a story and we want to know. We want to have a narrative. So, for example, there's two ways that we change. For example, we learn psychology, and then we learn a crystal or essential oil, or we learn something, we do it, we apply it, it changes our energy field, and we learn something. That's from the outside in. And it's a fine way to learn. It uses the left brain, it uses cognition, and most of all, it uses words and ideas. And typically, you learn something almost right away, like how to set a boundary, or I use this essential oil and it's supposed to do this. So I did this, and then I felt this, and now this is different for me. Another way to work, though, is what I call working with source. So to me, we have spirit guides that are like our girlfriends or guy friends. They're the ones that say, go down the block today and you'll find a cat to adopt, or you should buy the purple car that's at the used car lot. And you go to the used car lot and there's a purple car, and it's miraculous and it's amazing. And they talk to you in words or concepts that you understand immediately. And they're a big help, and they're a lot of fun, but they're also your girlfriend. When you work with source, to me, that is the language of energy. It is not immediately understandable. You have to have a lot of surrender, and you have to be very teachable. And the way that it works is that source, or whatever you want to call it, higher power, the goddess, the creator, comes in because we allow it, changes our energy field first. And then we are given something that we can't yet understand. We couldn't even ask a question about it because we don't even know it exists. And then if we stay open in the next few days, sometimes the next few weeks, and sometimes the next year or two, layers and layers of learning will come in as our energy field has been changed, and we allow it to continue to change as sort of a cascade. The closest example I can give is, I always use sex as an example because sex is energy. The difference between sex and cosmic lovemaking is energy. You can do the exact same moves, say the exact same words, but one will be cosmic lovemaking because of the energetic connection, and the other will just be nice sex. So that's kind of the example that I use, which is, if I was talking to a 4-year-old about the difference between sex and cosmic lovemaking, a 4-year-old couldn't possibly understand it because they haven't had the experience. They also don't know how to be, some do, but most do not know how to be open to kind of feeling the energy of the description. So in other words, a 4-year-old couldn't say, wow, I hope I marry somebody where I have cosmic lovemaking, because they don't even know what it is. They can't ask for it. They can't desire it. They can't want it. They can't have a story about it because it doesn't yet exist. So working with source, we're like the 4-year-olds where we don't know yet what we're being shown. So that's how I like to work with energy. Instead of saying, show me, give me, I want, and here's my problem that I want an answer to, I will say to spirit, to source, I use those words interchangeably. I'm venting, here's my life. I want more money. I want more physical health. I want whatever I want. But what I really want is whatever I need for my highest good. Because perhaps what I want, my left brain and my ego wants, has nothing to do with soul evolution. It's just what's going on with me and Earth. So working with source, I do these kind of exercises a lot when I teach classes because it's training people to feel very subtle energies with no story. There was an osteopath that I used to work with, and he trained himself to find a human hair under 8 sheets of paper. So he could run his hands along the body and feel a bone out of alignment, and never used an X-ray, never used machinery to find out what was going on. But he trained himself to be that subtle. So what we did here was the first meditation was simply, can you be with yourself without going to a familiar meditation place? Like, this is where I go when I meditate. The Zen have a concept of having a beginner's mind, which is, I've been meditating for 50 years, but every time I meditate, instead of going to where I know I'm going to go, I want to see where I'm taken. So there is no normal, like this is my place where I go to. Instead, I go and see where am I right now? So that first meditation is like taking your pulse. It's being extremely mindful and self-aware of you right now in this moment with no story. In other words, I don't know why my back hurts. I don't know why I feel that rush of energy. I don't know why I feel peaceful. Like some people might say, I feel peaceful and that's good. But maybe you're feeling peaceful because you're a wreck right now and spirit is trying to hold you together. So it's not that you are so advanced that you went to a peaceful place, but you're such a mess that spirit is bringing in some peace for you right now to calm you down so you don't go drinking tonight or drive yourself crazy some other way. So in other words, if we lose the story and say it felt peaceful, but we don't know why yet. We don't know why that is. And I'm not even going to say it's, quote, good. Now, I like it. I could say, oh, I like feeling peaceful, because most of us do. But that's different than saying I know what it means. So we're working with these subtle energies with a crystal can do one of two things for us. If I say to the crystal, give me what I want to know about, then that's all the crystal can do. If you say, I'm working with this crystal to open my crown chakra, or I'm working with this crystal to heal my body, you have just limited what that crystal can do for you. If you can have a lot of surrender, which Westerners typically seem to hate that word. Surrender seems to imply doormat, loser, passive, vulnerable in not a good way. But surrender to me, and in the Eastern tradition, is more the ability to say, here's what I'm perceiving so far, but I don't know yet what it means. I'm not trying to find a meaning for it. I'm not trying to get cognition. I'm not trying to get my left brain going. It's kind of like when people tell me that they pray for prosperity, weight loss, love, end of their depression or whatever, they have just limited their communication with spirit, because the only permission they've given spirit is to talk about that subject matter. But suppose I'm really depressed because of something I'm not yet aware of. So I can tell spirit, look, I'm really depressed, but I want you to help me for my highest good. So instead, spirit shows me something, some weird sensation in my brain. And I just leave it for a while. And the next few days, I let it crock pot, I let it sit. And now I find on the internet something about neurotransmitters and brain regeneration and neuroplasticity. And I'm like, I think that's connected to that meditation. So let's say I keep following that. Over a little period of time, spirit is going to take me to a different place about depression than I ever thought of, that I couldn't have even asked for because I didn't even know it existed. So the same thing, if we're working with a crystal, which is a higher form of energy, and it's a different language than humans. It's a mineral and it emanates energy, not words, not concepts, unless you demand that, then you'll get it. But if you say to this crystal, this is what I want, or tell me what you're giving me, or tell me who you are, you have just limited the scope of what can be given to you. Instead, if you are going to the crystal and you can get in your body first and say, this is me right now. You're not saying it with words, you're saying it with energy. That's why we did that first meditation. This is me, and hello, and what can I learn? Or what can happen here for my highest good? We have just given full rein to an energy field to communicate with us about something we may not even know we need to communicate about yet. So that was the difference between the first meditation and just feeling the crystal in the second meditation. The moment you have a story, what you're doing is taking the unknown and quickly saying, I know what that is. And you just put it in your little box called, I know what this is. In science, they call that having a paradigm. Sociology, psychology, they all use that same word, which is, I know how the world works. So I just had this experience and I'm going to stick it in this box called, I know what this is. I just talked to my mother who was dead. My crown chakra just opened. Oh, this is about the argument I had with my friend. So you just ended an expansive lesson by putting it in your I know what this is box too quickly, too soon. When we work with a tool like crystals, it won't always be this way, but there is the potential to be shown something you don't yet even know about, that you can't even ask a question about it yet, because your atoms have to change their orbit first before you can be able to receive the information from a source that is much different than where you're at right now. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is the stuff that I teach. So if I meet a crystal and I just go, basically I'm going, what's up? And now I'm showing a bunch of stuff. I have sensations. I have a thought. I see colors. I have a feeling. You might have a smell. All sorts of things can happen. You might see a scene that looks like a past life or a future life. Instead of saying, I know what this is, I'm going to instead take it and go, here's what I felt, thought, or observed so far. And what does it mean? I don't know yet. I'm going to wait for it to change me and let it be revealed to me in the next few days. Now, how do we know it's a revelation? To me, revelations come when you're cleaning the toilet, vacuuming, picking your nose, driving, not when you're thinking and chewing on concepts like a dog on a bone. Like, is this about my past life? Is this about my major guide? Is this about my chakras? Instead, I'm just going, here's the facts. Like, here's what I felt, observed, thought so far, or saw. I don't know what it means yet. I have a couple of ideas, but I don't know. Kind of like when you look at art sometimes, or you read poetry and you just let it sink in for the next few days. And then over a period of time, sometimes very quickly within hours, but I've also had this roll out over a period of 2 years where the learning continues. Like I said, like a cascade, like your energy changes and you get an idea when you're vacuuming. And you're like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I think that's related to that meditation with that crystal. And then later on, something else comes that seems related to that first idea. So it's literally like your body, your energy field changes, and then more information can come in. But the second I say, I know what this is, I stop looking, I stop learning, I give up the beginner's mind. And now I'm more invested in being right and knowing what I'm talking about than being teachable. The third meditation that we did was whenever we say our name, and it's a little bit different if you ever want to try this, to say your full name at birth and your birth date. You are literally calling up the energy of your original contract of why you came to Earth. And it's always a very interesting meditation. And you will be shown things in layers. In other words, you can do that for the next 40 years, and you will keep learning more and more stuff about why you came here to Earth, because you can't handle all the information at one time. You literally cannot. Your energy field would like implode. So saying our first name is kind of a shorter version, but if you want to do something to kind of get in touch with, why did I incarnate and why am I here? And a lot of times people will do this when they're having a really hard time with illness or financial problems or just having a hard time. We can call up that original soul contract to remember everything we set up in this life, we did it to learn and evolve. We didn't call up anything to punish ourselves for some shitty bad life or because we're evil or anything like that. So that meditation with your full name at birth and your birth date, you're telling spirit, I'm willing to look at that original contract again. Teach me, show me some more about it. I can face it. I'm willing to do that. So it's when I do readings, there's a lot of natural boundaries that people come in with. There's a lot of do not talk to me about this, or don't tell me this, or I already believe this and I can't hear any other idea. Those are energetic boundaries and I can't get past them in a first session. There's just no way. We have with spirit, free will to be a spiritually awakened person or not. So the default setting to me is spirit has no right to guide us without our permission. So if I tell spirit, help me with my relationship, I just told spirit, the only thing you can talk to me about is my relationship. But what if spirit needs to talk to you about your relationship with your mother or your father? Because that has something to do with this current relationship, but you have not given that permission. So same thing with crystals. If we say, show me about this, or heal my stomach, or open my chakra, you just limited what could happen. On the other hand, when you do that, you might get an answer that makes you feel more in control, because you might get an answer that your left brain immediately understands. And most people have quite an attachment to knowing and quote understanding. Like people like to tell me, I know all about this, I know all about that. I would say, here's what I know so far about this, because I think there's always more to learn about just about everything. Just like most of you look older, so I am sure that you have learned layers and layers and layers about the same subject matter. And it's gotten deeper and deeper and deeper. So I'm always encouraging people, take the position of, this is what I got so far. So the last meditation, the first one was you just checking in with yourself. Can you check in and not have a story? Can you see where you are right now? Feel where you are. Examine where you are right now in this moment and have it be the first time, because this is the first time you've been here in your body in this moment. It's not the same old place that you always go to when you meditate. The second one was literally just feeling the crystal and what the crystal wanted to show you with no demands. So if the crystal wanted to show you your neck is hurting, and the crystal wanted to show you that there's a lot of swirling energy, but maybe that swirling energy isn't good. Maybe it felt good, right? But if we can go, well, it felt swirling, maybe you'll find out in the next couple of days that you're very ungrounded and that actually you like feeling ungrounded. That's kind of how you were brought up in kind of a chaotic family. So ungrounded feels good to you. So the crystal made you feel swirling and your left brain said, oh, I like swirling. So that's a good crystal for me. So I feel good. And now you just made up a whole story. But if you can instead say, I felt swirling, I wonder what that is. I don't know what that is yet. Now you're teachable. In the next few days, you might have memories of your childhood come up where you suddenly go, wow, swirling. That's how I felt most of my youth. And you never put that together before. So the second meditation was just feeling the crystal giving something to you because you weren't asking anything specific and you were very available to be present in your body and be receptive. And that, by the way, to me, that takes a lot of practice. Most people I know it is extremely hard for them to do a silent meditation because that's them being completely with themselves and with source. That's it. No guidance, no music, no visualization, nothing. And you learn a lot, and it's tough and it's amazing. So the last meditation was just kind of a little check-in on, I want to say, kind of who you think you are right now. The first one was just me checking in, like taking my pulse. It's almost like the first, if we reversed it, the first meditation would be, I'm fine, I'm great, life is wonderful, I feel good. And then the meditation where you're just breathing would be where you find out, oh, you know what? I don't really feel that good. I'm just acting that way because I'm around people right now. So the meditation where you said your name is a little bit more checking in on how you think you are right now versus the first meditation is how you actually are right now. So the reason I did the 3 was to show you how subtle the energies are. So when you work with crystals, the energies, some of them can be blasting, but the big learnings to me are these very, very subtle energies when you work with crystals. So as you shift and change, your relationship with a crystal can also change. Like a crystal may be powerful to you, and a year later it feels dead. That's not because the crystal's gone dead. It's because your energy level has changed so much. The crystal's impact on you is much, much different. So we can do some other things with crystals, some more of these kind of experiments. But before we do that, I wanted to see if people had questions, comments, anything they wanted to say. And like I said, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this is the material. This is how I teach. This is how I teach about any tool, whether you're working with a pendulum, tarot cards, the same thing. I have people learn to hold the cards and read the cards' energy long before they turn them over and even look at the picture. So they've trained themselves to feel the energy message first before their left brain can come in with a story about something. So this is just what I do. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm right or this is the only way or anything like that. So any questions or comments or?
Peg.
Hi, I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Do you have some suggestions for those of us with that Western brain that we can recognize what we're trying to do and stop it?
Yeah. I actually, yes, it's a pretty simple practice. First of all, great question. Second of all, if you do catch it, then you can do a different choice, right? So, and I'll talk about that in a second. The first thing I suggest when people tell me they don't have time to meditate, my response is, if you have time to pee, you have time to meditate. I used to meditate as a professor going into a class. The way I prepared for a class was to get my energy really connected because the subject matter was secondary to the energy that I was bringing in for teaching and connecting with the student. So I couldn't always get away to do that. So I would go sit in the ladies' room. People are farting. It was stinky. There was chatter going on. I put the toilet seat down and I would take a minute and connect. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't a temple. There was no mindfulness bell, but it worked. It definitely worked. And it's a training that no matter what's going on externally, I want to be able to connect to that spiritual energy and bring it into my life. I don't want to treat it like church, like here I'm meditating, it's perfect, and now it's over and I'm just living my life. So a great practice, there's an article actually you can read by Pema Chodron, who's a wonderful Tibetan Buddhist. She's an American woman. And I love her because she always talks about how she screws up and how she learns the lessons the hard way. So she's very humble and very transparent. She's not all like, I'm amazing. She's like, no, here's how I learned it. I totally blew this friendship out of the water. And she'll say that at like 70, that she's still screwing up. So I love that because that's how we learn. So it's called The Pause, Pause. It's on Lion's Roar. But if you just Google the pause, Pema Chodron. It's about taking 3 breaths throughout the day. And you take the 3 breaths not to calm down, not to leave your body, not to feel amazing, not to talk to God. You do it to, like putting your hand on your pulse, you do it to check in. How am I doing right in this moment? Oh, I feel like shit. Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. My back hurts. I'm scared. I'm anxious. And the reality is, the second we're present, the crown chakra is open and spirit is with us. The TV is on, the show is coming in. But when we're out of our body, meaning I'm trying to feel good, but I don't feel good. I'm out of my body. I'm trying to feel calm, but I don't. I'm out of my body. And I'm in my left brain. So the pause takes about 30 to 40 seconds. You just breathe 3 times and you're asking yourself, how am I doing? No story. That we now know, not only does the brain change its shape and form. We thought this wasn't possible 10, 15 years ago. This was not known, that there was what we call neuroplasticity, that when you do something, you literally grow new neural pathways, which also we now know the brain can regenerate. That was also not known, right? So doing the pause literally is creating a neural pathway for yourself to learn to check in without a story. You do it, if you did that, let's say you put a mindfulness bell on your phone, right? And you did it 3 times a day for 2 weeks. I promise you, you will feel a huge result in your ability to be observant and open with no story. You'll catch it. You'll go, holy shit, I just looked at that and went, wow, look at that. And I had no story about it. It goes that fast, but you actually have to do it. It's kind of like muscles. You have to lift weights to get muscles. So this builds brain muscle. So that would be the first practice. The second thing, though, is if you catch yourself with a story, you can literally go, shut up, and then take 3 breaths and just go, that's a story. I don't know if that's true. I just made that shit up. So I feel better, right? And is it hard to do? Yes. At first, it's hard to do. But this is really the practice of the beginner's mind, right? So I've been like doing spiritual stuff since I'm about 17 and I'm 70 now, right? And I still meditate. My main practice, people come to me, there's no bells and whistles. What do? We do this. That's it. But incredible stuff happens because there's this huge cosmic connection, and we don't always know what it is until a little bit further down the road. But that's what I would do to build up the practice. And then you can apply it by telling your brain to shut up. Thank you for sharing, shut up. But here's what I actually felt or saw or thought about, but I don't know what it means yet. So I have 3 prayers. My 2 major prayers are this. They're big. Here's the first one. Help me. I don't say with what, by the way. I don't tell spirit what to help me with. I might vent. I might say, I need rent money and my dog is sick and my mother's driving me crazy and I think you should fix all of it. But what I really want is help for my highest good. Meaning I don't know what help I should get. I'm not going to tell spirit. Just like with a crystal, we now limit what can come to us. My other prayer is show me. Like I'm in the middle of a mess. I don't even know what to ask. So just show me something. When I'm really mad, I also say, it better be a burning bush because I'm so freaking confused. I need like a big ass sign, I don't need anything subtle. I need a burning bush, something like that. And show me what I don't say. And my last prayer is thank you. I don't do gratitude because a lot of the times I don't feel grateful. I'm pissed or I'm depressed or mad. But what the thank you says to spirit is, I don't feel good, but I'm still taking the class. So thank you for teaching me, even though I'm behaving like a little brat. And I'm kicking and screaming and I'm saying, I want to manifest, I want to intend, I want a car, I want to lose weight, I want a love affair. No, forget all that. Thank you, even though I'm being a brat. So those are my 3 prayers. They're very short. but it also reminds me not to make up a story. So if I have a big story and I catch it, another thing I'll do is just do this little prayer like, you know what? That was just a story. Please help me with whatever for my highest good, not my story. And these simple little practices, to me, they're like building a mala, one bead at a time. And then all of a sudden you have prayer beads. And that makes a huge, huge difference because the brain literally has to reshape in order to do this, to make it habit.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How do you choose a crystal?
Great question. There's another practice I'll tell you about, but how I choose crystals is I do the meditation of just breathing, that beginner's mind. So now I'm just feeling stuff, whatever. I'm feeling me in the moment, no story, no agenda, nothing. And then like we did, I'm going to pick up that crystal and just feel it. And if it feels like an affinity, I will take it. But here's the problem. If you haven't done a lot of work on yourself, maybe that crystal doesn't make you feel good. But maybe what it's doing is waking up something in you that needs to be healed. So this is the tricky part, because if your brain says, well, that doesn't feel good, so that crystal isn't good for me. That's your story. But what if you sit with it and it doesn't feel good and you go, never mind good or bad. Let me get rid of good and bad. Let me instead go to, that's why when people said it felt normal or it felt pretty much the same, I asked them to get more definitive. Because normal is a story and pretty much is too non-specific. So if I'm feeling a crystal, it doesn't feel good, I go, oh wait, that's a story. How does it actually feel? My stomach is swirling. My heart feels like it's stopping. I feel a little nauseous. And I feel like there's something there for me to learn somehow, or I feel like it's still okay. I can't explain it, and I don't know why. So now there's no good or bad feeling to the crystal. Instead, I'm just focusing on the sensation, calming down a little bit, getting away from good and bad. And in that point, you could also do that little prayer, show me. If I said, show me, and that energy got more intense, I would say that is, for me, an energetic push to get that crystal, even though it doesn't feel good. If I said, show me, and the energy stayed the same or went lower, I would reconsider getting that crystal. Why? I don't know. It's just energy. So that's a great question. And one of the problems with working with tools, if we have a story and we haven't worked on ourselves, is that our old stories can often run over the energy that we're perceiving. So here's a great way to start training your energy in that way. When you have, let's say you have a decision to make, take a job, don't take a job. This is a great exercise. I've used it for 50 years. I still use it when I need it. Get two pieces of paper that look the same, two small pieces. On one of them, write, take the job. On another one, write, don't take the job. Fold them up, smush them up so you don't know which is which. I always have a notepad in the beginning years when I did this so I could make notes so I could remember. And then I would settle first in that breathing meditation, meaning I'm taking my pulse. I'm just being present. No matter how I feel, I'm going to accept it. And then I pick up one piece of paper, and the question I'm asking is, how would this feel? Not, is it right? Is it good? Is it best? Will it get me more money? No earth plane question. How would this feel? Put it down. Pick up and write some notes. Pick up the other one. How does this feel? And then write some notes. When you open it and look at it, what you'll be offered then, instead of what to do, left brain, you'll be shown, if you make this choice, this is what you'll be feeling. And if you make this choice, this is what I'll be feeling. So now you're learning to read the energy instead of trying to define if it's good or bad. Good or bad comes out of our wounded self. It comes out of our cultural beliefs. It comes out of our education. But if it's coming out of, well, this choice is going to feel like a lot of stress and excitement and a lot of work, and I kind of like that. And this one feels quiet, but kind of dead and kind of like really quiet. Which one do I want in my life right now? Now it's not like which one is better, which one's the right one. I always teach, instead of asking what's right, what's wrong, I always train people to ask, am I connected before I make a choice? If I'm connected, spirit is working with me. And it is going beyond my consciousness, beyond my left brain, beyond my ego, beyond my restraints in thinking. So that paper exercise is a great way to train yourself. With a crystal, I would, when you're beginning, I would work with 2 crystals. Settle first, get in your body. How does this crystal feel? Put it down. How does this crystal feel? And I would just look at how it feels. And then I would go with which feeling is kind of calling me to work with it. Because sometimes you might cry when you pick up a crystal, and for some reason that just feels right and good, but you can't explain it, right? So if you're going with your left brain, you go, this is a bad crystal, it makes me cry, makes me sad, this is a bad thing. But if I just go, this one feels this way, this one feels this way, but I'm still drawn to this one. That to me is, in the beginning, is the simplest way to work with choosing crystals, and to stay away from the wounded brain or the trauma brain or the old neural pathways taking over and running our decisions, instead of us being very teachable and having a lot of surrender and going, I don't really know, but I'm going to go this way. That makes sense?
Break in now, because I have to, because we've come to the end of the hour, and so people on the East Coast are having to leave and go to sleep and all. And anybody who wants to stay is welcome to. But
Okay.
I just need to come to this point and thank you, because that was a lot of good, important stuff that we all need to hear. And anybody, like I said, you're welcome to stay and chat. And if you have to leave, as some have put in the chat, then we understand. We won't take it personally.
So yes, anybody?
Kathleen.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Marie, so much. This was very, very interesting and helpful. I had been gifted a crystal once, and another spiritual teacher said that it was good to clear or cleanse the energy of that crystal. I put it in salt out in moonlight overnight, and it cracked on me. So, and my pendulum does not like this crystal. So, do the crystals absorb our energy when we work with them? And should we cleanse our own crystals so we're not getting an emotional feedback loop when we use it?
Great question. Yes, I always cleanse crystals, and there's a lot of ways to do it. If you work very well with energy, you can literally clear a crystal by holding it in your hands and just saying to source, clear, right? But if you're not sure, you can smoke it with sage. Salt water is great. Sunshine's great. Moon is great. In my practice, if you have a mala and it breaks, that is always that the mala just protected you from something that was coming in, so that the lesson will not be as harsh. I find that true with also, that sometimes the crystal cracks as a way to kind of take some of the impact of a lesson that's coming to you. Because when we're on an awakened path, we are volunteering to take the hard classes. And that therefore we get a lot of breaks. Like as long as I know you're taking the class, I can make it a little softer. Now, people are dodging the class. That's when spirit comes and parks a Mack truck on you and turns it off until you wake up. The lessons are harder. So I would take that crack as a blessing that something was done to help you learn in not such a harsh way. And I clear crystals all the time, constantly. And how do you do it? I say, follow your intuition. Sometimes sage is enough. Sometimes energy is enough. I've been known to pack up like a duffel bag of crystals and taking to the ocean when I felt like some huge transition and every crystal in my house needed a giant change. And I wasn't going to do it with my energy. I look like a maniac, you know, in California at the ocean with all my crystals in the water, trying not to lose them. It was ridiculous, but it worked. So yes, clear them.
A quick follow-up. I was gifted this crystal at a church service when I was with a friend. We were traveling and she couldn't understand why this man walked up and gave it to me, not her. And then I went through 11 days of hell on a road trip with my college roommate, this woman. And that must have been the lesson, because then when I got home, I cleansed the crystal and it cracked.
It could have been the lesson, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. In other words, that crystal could have made that road trip less horrible than it was going to be.
No way. Okay.
You
Thank you.
survived it,
Another
Mike.
question. It was, thank you. I'm going to ponder that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but
I'm going to be quiet
sometimes
now.
we think like, oh, this was shitty, but then I think, wow, it could have been even worse. And that crystal took the brunt of it. So you learned what you needed to learn, and it wasn't half as harsh or 3/4 as harsh as it could have been. Just so another way to think about it. Never know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything they want to add or ask? We just lost someone. Wow. It's a lot to absorb, huh?
That's it. Everybody good?
I think so. If everybody's like brain dead. Well, it's late for some people.
Information overload, but I
Yes.
gave good little practices to try working with energy. I would say the biggest thing is remaining very teachable and very open and saying, this is what I know so far.
Right.
And
So would you put your contact information again? Marcia
chat?
is asking, yeah, because people who
Yes.
came in later wouldn't have seen the earlier ones.
Okay. And there's a question. Is there a question there? That
Yeah, Christina.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Marie. That was refreshing, a really no frills exposition. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
I sort of logged into this session really just because I saw it on my calendar and I thought, oh, wow, it's just time. I'll just hop in here because I should be doing 1,000 other things. But this was really interesting and I really loved it. I don't have a crystal. I didn't know I was supposed to have a crystal. So I just put my hands together like this and it's very cold between them. And so I imagined, well, you know, I sort of opened up and thought, what crystal would I have, you know? And nothing came for a while. And then finally, right at the end, I get this beautiful ruby colored thing. Sort of it changed from a rose to a something a little bit more condensed, but the color was just so beautiful. So maybe I'll go and look for a ruby type thing.
Yeah, of course it had to be an expensive crystal ruby, right? But yeah, if that's meant to be, then trust the process and see if it kind of falls into your lap and see what happens with that. So yeah, exactly. The other thing about all tools, I love tools. I have like 7 tarot decks. I can't tell you how many crystals I have all over my house, in every corner, everywhere. but they
I'll
are
send
just
you my
tools.
address. You can send me one.
So ultimately, we don't need the tools.
No.
Ultimately, we don't need the crystals. So I always tell people, remember, it's a tool to help you develop your own energy skills. And after a while, you can do for yourself what a crystal would do, and you can do to others what a crystal would do. It's just easier to put a crystal layout on someone than to do energy work on them. It's easier sometimes to do a tarot reading than to tune in without the tarot cards. But don't worship the tool is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people like, oh, tarot is everything. It's like, no, it's a tool. You are everything, and you can read and do everything without the tools, and enjoy the tools. But just remember, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Good.
a ruby crystal, of course, right? It wasn't a clear one. At least it isn't blue sapphire. Those are more expensive. So.
No, as I said, no frills. Okay. Thanks very much.
All right. Anybody else? If not, I'm going to put my info in the chat room. And
Pamela.
anybody else have anything?
Marie, thank you. That was truly so wonderful. It was so informative, and I'm just and just that exercise that you gave us that we can do wherever we are was worth your weight in gold, worth the weight in gold, as they say, or in crystal.
Saved my life.
Thank you. So I really am so impressed.
Good.
With the open at the top information to just remain open without outlining everything. Just listen to that higher soul. Very impressed. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
and Pam leads meditations daily on Zoom. So that's a real compliment,
Oh, thank you.
as they all are.
Where are you in California? Oh, you're in Yucaipa.
Yucaipa, yeah. I do work online with people, especially if they're energy sensitive. It's as good as being in person, even though I still love it in person more. But doing things like helping people get more sensitive to energies, and also able to call in like more than you can call in for yourself in the beginning, so that then you can learn how to do that. Like when I have classes here, the complaint I often get is people say, well, I don't feel this when I go home. And I said, of course not. The reason you study with any teacher is because their energy field brings in something you can't bring in yet. But that's meant to inspire you so that one day you will be able to do that. So if you ever want to do something with working with these subtle energies, it's not for everyone. Some people find this work tedious and it's too subtle for them, or it's not enough bells and whistles. It's pretty simple stuff, but to me, it's cosmic, to just sit there and have your whole world change in silence. Is how the hell does that happen? I still can't get over it. I've been doing it for decades, and I'm still like, when I teach a class at the end, what I really want to say is, wasn't that amazing? Like, wow. I don't want to say, oh, I'm so great and that was a great class. I just want to say with everyone, that's incredible that all that stuff happened just by sitting there and tuning in. I can never get over it. It's amazing.
Classes, how do we know when you're having class? I'm not that far from you. I'm in Rio, California.
Oh, I have a website, which is my name, which I
put it in there just now.
Okay.
Thank you, She.
Yeah, so I do hybrid classes, but also I do most of my work is private sessions. I try to keep the classes low cost. I'm in a blue collar area where a lot of people can't afford to see, a spiritual person. They can't even afford therapy out here. It's really blue collar. A lot of civil servants, a lot of people work in the Amazon warehouse, that sort of thing. So the classes and the workshops are inexpensive. The workshops are in person. Every 2 months, I do a 2-day intensive. And that's pretty astounding what we do. It's like from 10 to 4. We take a break for lunch. Sometimes we go out into nature. There's a local vortex. There's some trees we talk to. We do a lot of different things. So the classes are $20. They're 2 hours, and it's meant so that people could actually get a practice. The people who can't afford to spend a lot of money and want to learn how to start doing this stuff for themselves. But most of the work I do is private work, private sessions with people. And my website talks about that, but also you can contact me and I can talk to you more about that if anybody's interested. So just drop me an email, send me your phone number, I'll call you, we can talk.
I would love that, and I will do that.
Cool.
So-
We're located.
Okay, thank
She's-
you so much.
Okay.
She's near me in Camarillo.
Oh, okay. Lucky
Yeah, I'm
dog.
not that far. I don't think Yucaipa's that far at all.
It's a bit of a
2
journey.
hours.
Like
But
100 miles, right?
The
little more.
the weekend workshops, I have people coming from out of town like Sacramento and Arizona and stuff, and they just stay like in a motel nearby or an Airbnb, and then they get 2 full days, and it works. That's probably, if you want to do in person plus with other people, because that's always much more intense, I think, when you have other people there. That's what they choose to do, because
Win safe with COVID. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, honey.
oh,
Okay. Oh, now you can
anything
rest.
else? Anybody else? Anything?
Christina.
Yeah,
Thank you all for being so friendly and supportive and wonderful. And Sheila, thank you for the opportunity and this
Oh,
wonderful
thank you.
group, this family you've put together. It's awesome.
They're wonderful. I think Christina had something.
Yeah.
I just have one more question. It's a technical thing. When we save the chat, if something
Oh.
comes up later and when we save it again, does that override the previous one, or what happens?
I don't know for sure. I hate to steer you wrong.
Does Giles know?
I think if you've already
Yes.
saved it, it'll probably come with a different name, like with
It comes with a different date stamp on it. So
Yeah,
it's,
all
a,
right.
it's a
Yeah.
new one, a new
So-
and different one.
And
Okay.
you can also always find me through Sheila, just contact Sheila. If you for some
Yeah.
reason don't save the chat or something, she knows how to get a hold of me. So, and Sheila, you can always give out my phone number too. So
Okay.
no problem.
Because I was
Yeah.
just looking on the chat for Marie's website there. I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it's in there. If you scroll up, it wasn't too long ago.
Up the top.
Before we close, I wonder if Lisa wanted to maybe give a brief introduction to what you're going to talk about next time.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, before I do that, I want to thank Marie for really fascinated, beautiful, thought-provoking talk. I think
Thank
simplicity, it reminds me that the quote, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So, yeah. And I love your background because it looked very Chinese, and I she's
My principal board is in,
the Kuan Yin behind you really draws to me.
that red principal board is in Chinese. My primary teacher is a Chinese man who's about 83 years old now. So
Oh, wow.
it's
Yeah,
primarily Taoism with a little bit of Buddhism and a little bit of Confucianism. That's my main, that he teaches that combination. So
I see. No
Yeah.
wonder so
Yeah.
I resonate with your Chinese
exactly, right?
in your energy. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Marie. Yeah. And Sheila, yes, for me, I like to talk about in a way, it's super conscious is also in another form of spirit, another word for spirit, and how that connect to our inner doctor, the concept that I work with, and I help people get in touch, connect to that via the ear. And so that's on the other side, it's a very left brain process. And hopefully we'll introduce it to open people's, there's another awareness of how miraculous our body is in all different, a different dimension. The physical dimension, but through that we can connect to our non-physical spiritual dimension.
Is this like auricular acupuncture or something?
Yes, Yes.
Oh, that saved my life, by the way.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
well, you should, I hope
laser-
you're here to give it.
For years.
Well, then I hope you can join us.
I
You can give a testimonial. And Christina, if you miss anything in the chat, you can let me know and I'll, because I have the whole thing saved.
Thank you.
Christina, I beg your pardon, I misinformed you. It does overwrite the previous one, but
Oh,
it has the whole chat in it. And of course, you
has-
can copy that file and put it somewhere else and then
Oh,
write
right.
over it, and then it's a different file.
It only has the chat from when you joined. It's not
Yes,
going to have anything.
correct.
It's not going to have the whole chat. It'll
Oh,
just be from when you showed up. So if there's
Correct.
anything you need, let me know and I'll
yeah.
get it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
But it was really good. Thank you. Gotta go now.
All
Thanks.
right.
Bye.
Happy Chinese New Year.
Thank you,
He
everybody.
did, yeah. Is
Oh,
it the
she left
tiger?
us. All right. And thank you again, Marie. That's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Marie. That was amazing.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. It was so nice to see friendly faces. Thank you, Sheila.
We have lots of friendly faces here.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Tracy. Bye,
Bye.
Carol. Bye, Pete.
Dana, good to see you.
Love you guys.
Okay.
Everybody take care. Be safe.
Bye.
All
You
right.
too.
Good night,
Bye, Sheila.
everybody.